listening to the White Wall Sessions Radio.
Welcome to the White Wall Sessions Radio. I'm your host, Dan Schaefer. On this week's episode, we feature Stay Lucky, Beasthead, and the Matchsellers. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are now accepting submissions for Season 7. To submit, go to whitewallsessions.com. The White Wall Sessions would like to thank these fine sponsors for their support. Last Stop CD Shop, Bell Incorporated, Workplace IT Management, J. Rick Luthery, The University Center, Screen Flare, The Pink Moon Room, Club David, Great Outdoor Store, local branded convenience stores, Minuteman Press, Vishnu Bunny Tattoo and Piercing, and South Dakota Friends of Traditional Music. With a few dashes of indie, rock, and punk, Stay Lucky has been keeping Sioux Falls loud for the better part of a decade. The trio blends high-energy pop-punk sounds with heavy riffs and dense lyrics. Stay Lucky is David Naylor, guitar and vocals, Andrew Kanichi, drums, and Anthony Muller, bass and vocals.
Song's called 33.
Took a shot of whiskey just to calm these shaking nerves. Think I'm breaking down, holding on your pretty little words. More than a little let down by your condescending ways. The tell is in your smile when you talk about my day. Shot down at 23. You're gonna find out that I'm not waiting anymore for you to come around. I'm away, far too sober. Hold my breath till we get older. I'm not waiting anymore for you to come around. I'm away, far too sober. Hold my breath till we get older. I'm awake, far too sober. Took a shot of whiskey just to get me through the night. It's been a lifetime living every day with spite. And I swear I tried my best, I swear, gave it all I am. But it seems that giving everything perfect epitaph. Shot down at 33. And you're gonna find out that I'm not waiting anymore for you to come around. I'm awake, far too sober. Hold my breath till we get older. I'm not waiting anymore for you to come around. I'm awake, far too sober. Hold my breath till we get older. I'm awake, far too sober. I'm not waiting anymore for you to come around. I'm awake, far too sober. Hold my breath till we get older. I'm not waiting anymore for you to come around. I'm awake, far too sober. Hold my breath till we get older. I'm awake, far too sober.
Well, we'd like to welcome Stay Lucky to the White Wall Sessions. Welcome, guys.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
So when did this lineup start, or how did this start?
He's better at this because
he's a history major right here.
It's a long story. Me and my cousin Brian Hoffman started it a long time ago, and then basically about a year ago, David stepped in, started playing some guitar, and then we just decided to go a different direction. Brian kind of did his own solo thing for a while, and
we had him on a session.
Yeah. And then David started singing. We brought Anthony in, and so we've been out about a year. We've had this current
year and a
lineup.
half-ish.
Yeah, a year and a half, and that's about it. We just decided we decided on either going a new direction, having a new name, or keeping with the Stay Lucky thing. But I had been at it so long, and we had over like 1,000 stickers that we ordered and some shirts, so we figured we'd keep the name. And
here's the honest truth: is the stickers were made, T-shirts were made. We had Facebook followers, so we just kept the same name and just made it a new band.
It was an economic decision.
Logistics
decision.
For me, the songs that Stay Lucky had written before were from Brian Hoffman mostly, and he had written From the Heart, and those were his the things that he put out there, and I didn't feel comfortable, taking that over. So we just decided to start anew and write completely new material. And
I don't think we've kept any of the songs that.
Nope.
Yeah.
So that's what we have now is stuff that we've written in the last year and a half.
Well, let's start with this rhythm section, because there was, being a three-piece, there's a lot of room for you guys, and man, you're using all of it. Let's start with the drums. There was some really cool stuff you were doing on that drum.
Thank you.
How long have you been playing?
Since 5th grade probably, and I'm 29, so carry the one. I don't know, a long time, over that decade, 15. I don't know. Yeah, a long time.
It sounded great, and then you had some of the really cool bass in there. I mean, the melodic stuff. That gives you sort of a place to lay your vocals and guitars on. Mm-hmm. How do these songs come together?
Well, honestly, every song is a little bit different. There's a couple songs where we've all just went into our practice room and started playing, and a song develops. And I just spew from the mouth, any kind of lyrics that I might think off the top of my head. Usually those lyrics don't stick, but the melodies do. Or it's a song that I've sat by myself in a room and written a guitar part. And in this day and age, being in a band is incredible. You got Dropbox, you got SoundCloud, you got the different technological advances that allow him to sit at work, me to sit at work, him to be driving in his vehicle, and we can all listen to what I'm writing, or he's writing.
Don't text and drive.
Yeah, don't listen to Stay Lucky and drive.
I'd say we use the. Oh, sorry.
So we use everything at our disposal to write every single song we have. For me personally, like when I write a song, and I'm trying to think of lyrics and vocals, we have everything to record ourselves, and we'll record the drums, bass, guitar, no vocals, and I'll be driving in my car listening to the song we wrote, and off the top of my head, just start singing stuff, and that's how I write.
That's how we've done a ton. Some of them like On My Own, right? That was, or not On My Own. Oh, the one you wrote, the Panda song, the Panda shirt song.
Oh,
you wrote that as What Needs to Be Said. He wrote that as an acoustic, and we just turned it into a full piece. In the beginning, sometimes he'd send me guitar parts, and I'd just think of lyrics, and then sometimes we'd just make it up as we go. He'll just make stuff up during practice on the fly. And
it's a very big collaborative.
So the bass and drums are sort of there. You just kind of playing, and then you kind of start structuring it, and then that begins a song.
For the most part, yeah. I'm the kind of person, I don't know what it is. I have kind of a mental block as far as being able to sit down and just write parts on my bass. And I sold all my guitar equipment. So basically, these guys will kind of maybe formulate kind of something. And then I'm just really good at kind of just filling in the spots that these guys don't really fill in, whatever needs to be there. Like I just have my brain works in a way that I'm like, I'm good at supplementing or like coming up with something that will fit right. Or, like lock into the drums at certain parts or get off of the drums and kind of like do something different. That's really where my brain works. So I'm more of a follower instead of a leader in this band, which is fine. Like I'm into that. So, but yeah, it's just, I mean, it's a lot, like I say, it's a lot of collaborative and just a lot of like, I kind of let these guys come up with the lion's share of the ideas because they're good at it, and then I can kind of fill in what I need to, and if it's bad, they'll tell me, hey, that's not good, figure something else out, and then I'll do that. Like I'm good at taking orders. So.
In all honesty, that doesn't happen very often. Most of the stuff that Anthony puts out is pretty solid.
He's good.
Like Better Lucky, we had to okay, we need to tear back the guitar, I need to do less on drums, and we need to feature the bass part on that song because that's amazing. And then same with Boy Cried Wolf, it's just a really good, we all try to let the best part shine wherever it comes.
We get out of the way for the other person.
Yeah, and there's a lot of space there to do that, especially for you guys. So that's really cool. And then you're saying that the song sort of tells you what it should be lyrically.
Yeah. I'm a very passive writer. I'll, like I said, I'll be driving in my car or I'll be working and, just I know what the melody is of the guitar and the drums and the bass and just start singing.
Yeah.
Whatever comes out, and if it's solid, I keep it, and if it's not, I don't.
I feel like the music itself, just the instrumentals, kind of have an emotion that you can attach to it, and then you just you try to summon that emotion as much as you can, and it's kind of like a, verbal Tourette's. You just start saying things, and then a line sticks, and then you stick with that idea, and then you just build that off one line, and then it just starts to build usually like that.
Sure. Well, how do you do that into the studio? Now, you record yourselves?
Yes, we do.
We do. Drag Me Down was done at the bunker, that music video we have. But the rest of the stuff we've been doing on our own. Yeah.
They do good stuff at the bunker.
They do a great job.
They're straight shooters too. Mark Dom and Art, those guys.
Yeah.
They're really really good dudes.
They're awesome to work with.
They're not gonna they're not gonna steer you in the wrong direction. They kind of let you do what you need to do, and if it doesn't seem right technically, they're gonna let you know, but not be pompous about it. They're super good dudes.
Yeah.
Me and Anthony, we have everything that we need to at least do demos or do we released an EP. We did that ourselves in the very beginning stages of when we started recording, and we've leaps and bounds since then. It's very nice for us to be able to we've got an idea and just lay it down.
Mark's a really talented.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So then you put these songs out. You've got some for free download.
Yep.
Is there? What are your thoughts on that? You want to share them, or eventually do you want to be paid for them? That's kind of a tricky thing for everybody.
Well, to me, sorry to step over you, but to me,
go ahead.
Like I do this. I do it because it's fun. If I wanted to make money at this, like the smart thing to do in the Midwest. I guess not the smart thing, but like I think the easier thing to do is just to be part of a cover band and play bars and make money.
If I wanna drive middle of the night, mapping out the answers to the questions in my mind. If I had the chance to do it all again, would I act like it all mattered or play dead and just pretend? If I want your name tattooed across my chest, intertwined with images of 50s actresses, would you find a way to drag me down today? Would you see art is on my sleeve, and when the lights go dim, will your words come out then? Do you believe
Coming up after the break,
You are listening to the White Wall Sessions Radio.
Beasthead is an electronic indie rock band from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Infusing intriguing vocals with rock sensibility, this band delivers a unique experience to the listener. Beasthead is Harry Reynolds, lead vocals, Doug Deichler, synthesizer, Nick Webby, guitar, and Paul Novak on bass. We're here at the White Wall Sessions with Beasthead from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Well, let's talk about this style of music. I mean, you call it, what, electronic indie?
Sure.
But there's really some cool mood stuff going on. And it really starts with the bass. I mean, let's talk about your bass, because it's kind of like a reggae style. It's almost as much as what you don't play as what you do, kind of a little run and a pause. Have you always played that style?
Kinda. I played a little more like kind of getting influenced from, more classic rock stuff when I was kind of growing up and trying to play like, like Rush or John Paul Jones or something like that originally. And then coming into this, and once we were working more with beats and things like that, taking a lot more influence from hip hop and things like that, and trying to play something that might sound like a good sample or loop that someone might put in a hip hop beat is kind of my ultimate goal, I think, and just to play nice loops almost is kind of what I aim to do.
Yeah, I got that out of it because there's those little diddly,
Yep.
and then which just adds so much to it. It's just like a reggae. I mean, but
Yeah,
in the
and
same
I
way-
try to just kind of hold it down with the beat as much as I can, and kind of once we switched from what we were playing before, kind of more to some of that classic rock stuff, to whatever you want to call this now. Just kind of realizing that I kind of need to kind of keep that together while Nick and Harry kind of dance on top of that, I think.
Yeah, and let's talk about that dance on top because while he's doing some things, you're doing a whole lot of finger picking, reverb, or phase.
Love finger picking. Love it.
But then you get to sort of do some shredding stuff too.
Oh yeah.
And what is your background? What kind of music you listen
to? Kind of similar to Paul. I mean, we three of us, me, Paul, and Doug, all grew up together, so we've been knowing each other for a long time. So a lot of our stuff is very similar with some slight differences. But so yeah, we've been jamming together, us three, since I don't know, since we were 12, 13. So
Really?
Yeah, it's 15 years. So we have a good feel of each other. But yeah, so my stuff, yeah, grew up love Jimi Hendrix, love Jimmy Page, all the good boy guitar players, all those classic guys.
Nice.
So that's why I grew up on, just trying to play riffs of that. AC/DC was the first one because those parts aren't too hard to play, so you can kind of start out and hit a C and an A and feel all right about it, So you just gotta build yourself up from there, and just learn songs. And then, so we learned a lot of songs, and then you start finding your own sound after you learn how to play a little bit.
So the three of you, Doug, Paul, and Nick, grew up together. How did you choose your instruments, or did they choose you?
He was joking about.
I don't
AC
remember this.
Well, yeah. Well, no, it's because of, there was a couple girls we liked in junior high that said they were really into AC/DC. So Nick and I started playing guitar. Yeah. I mean, that was 15 years ago or whatever. We just started to learn how to do that and be in a rock band and pulled.
I never
Paul
knew
in.
that was the reason.
Oh yeah,
I didn't hear that. I've never heard that.
That was Doug's reason.
But pulled Paul in, and we started off simple when we were 12, 13, and then kind of go through all the phases you go through in high school, move from simpler stuff to into Zeppelin, and then kind of branch off from there, from the classic rock thing you're doing in junior high to pretty much every stereotypical phase you could think of we went through. And then Nick spiraled off and got really into metal and jazz fusion.
Mahavishnu Orchestra.
Mahavishnu Orchestra.
Got into some,
Yeah. And then you spent
very technically proficient stuff.
Yeah, and then you spent 2 years in your bedroom figuring out how to swell violin with the volume knob, and that's when we started to kind of, I was joking to someone earlier, started to do stuff that we hadn't heard before, because we'd been trying to be things that already existed and we'd heard before. So he started doing that kind of swelly guitar stuff, and I was that's new to me, and yeah.
And when he did it, I remember he was like, "Well, this is so easy. This is just easy." I'm like, "Yeah, for you." I tried to emulate it. I was like, "This I can't
Easier
do
the
it."
parts, better.
Exactly, and that's I originally was, kind of when I first met these guys was thought I was a guitar player too, but as soon as I started playing with these guys, I was like, if I want to play music with these guys, I can't play guitar. I need to do something else, and that's where I picked up the bass and kind of tried to go down that road.
Because the bass isn't. A lot of people think it's the kind of the default
And
instrument.
it's not that it's easier. It's just that it's different.
But you can do so much with the bass if you approach it correctly.
Yeah.
It's not like the guy who just broke two strings and I'm a bass player because I
Right.
You can really approach it. I think you did that.
Thank you.
It's like skiing. It's easy to learn, but really, really hard to do properly. And then once you can do it, it's I can do everything.
Pudgy game on point.
No,
Keep it up.
So Harry, let's talk about your road into the band, which is completely different than these guys. I mean, these guys sort of grew up together, but you came through a different channel, didn't you?
Yeah, so we were freshmen in college, and we played in the volleyball court of the quad, the dorm quad at the U of M. And I was playing with my high school band. Shout out to Jay Walker and the Misdemeanors.
Jay Walker doing it big.
Yeah, he's actually doing it okay for himself. But so we played together, and then I was in a band at the time. It's a folk band, and I knew these guys. And one day, I was riding. Doug was giving me a ride home from somewhere, and he's like, "Yo, we need a lead singer. You can sing. We should do something." And I was like, "Okay." So we got together, and just jammed on something, and that was it. I was the lead singer, and yeah, I broke up with the other band. It was actually emotional. Like, people were crying. It was pretty terrible.
I was unfortunately there in the background here. It's like, hey,
Yeah, you were in the living room.
I have to go talk to these boys. I'm like, all right, what's going to happen here? It's like,
Everyone showed up.
I'm
Like,
going
all
to
right,
go
let's
break
do
up
this.
with
And
them.
Nick's just in the living room playing Xbox. Like,
It was a little uncomfortable for me being in the band that he's sticking with.
Did you guys already have that sound when you came in, or did it change?
there was no sound.
Yeah, it wasn't like that.
Back when he joined, we still had our original drummer.
And right around that time, we started playing with drum machines. And like within the same week that we lost the drummer and started playing with drum machines, buying synths, he came in with some vocal effect pedals and was like, dove in headfirst with that. And it was like we were getting these sounds and like little bits of things that I hadn't heard before, which was like new to me because we'd been trying to emulate people for so long. So when we brought in all these new elements, it was like little things started popping up where I was like, oh, it's catching my attention. I like it. I haven't heard it before.
Take me out quickly now. Line me up. I don't know if anybody that's here. What you do with yourself? There's nothing new. You've been holding on to once more. Hold you. Line me up, come on, sit me down, smoke me out. You know everybody that's here, don't you? Plenty of things feel disgusting. You make me sick of you. Hold me down, have your way with me, and I feel my conscience. Why don't we go somewhere cool and yes, and I make my bed there.
Coming up after the break, the Matchsellers.
You are listening to the White Wall Sessions Radio.
Branding themselves as bluegrass-tronauts, the Matchsellers entertained the crew with their bluegrass sci-fi theme. The futuristic group combined fine instrumentation with wild galactic stories.
Attention, people of Earth. I know you believe you are what you are and that you see what you see, but the fact of the matter is, reality is a falsehood, and falsehood is reality. The fact of the matter is, we are all living in the year 2437, a year in which all music is called bluegrass. A year in which all of our bluegrass heroes do not actually die, but they just wind up in rocket ships in outer space. They are called bluegrass astronauts. They are called bluegrass-tronauts.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The band is Andrew Morris on guitar and vocals, Julie Bates, fiddle and vocals, Chad Graves, dobro, banjo and vocals, and Betsy May on bass and vocals.
Earl Scruggs in a spaceship on his way to Mars, picking away on a banjo at 100,000 miles an hour. Bill Monroe in a rocket, see the look on his face. It's mighty dark to travel when you're in outer space. Bluegrass astronauts, so far up high. I'm stuck in Kansas City, staring at the sky. Won't you come down? Won't you come back? Won't you come and take me with you to your extraterrestrial cabin shack? And Kenny Baker's life is never dull, 'cause he's fiddling away in a giant black hole. Don't forget Jimmy Martin, Lord, he's doing his thing. You can love him, you can leave him, when you're the king. Bluegrass astronauts, so far up high. I'm stuck in Kansas City, staring at the sky. Won't you come down?
We're here at the White Wall Sessions with the Matchsellers / Bluegrass-tronauts, or just the Matchsellers Bluegrass-tronauts.
Yes.
Welcome, everybody.
It is great to be here.
Gravy, can you introduce the band, yourself and the band?
My name is Chad Graves, and everybody has called me Gravy my entire life. I hope you do the same. The professor of the future history sitting next to me is Mr. Andrew Morris, all the way from Warsaw, Indiana. Next to him is the professor of artistic history, future, Miss Julie Bates, all the way from Kansas City, Missouri. Next to her is Betsy May. She is the biscuit to my gravy.
Biscuits and gravy.
And she is all the way from Lakin, Kansas.
And who's on sound effects? That's Andrew, right?
No, that is actually, they're not happening.
That actually happened.
Part of the whole weird thing when you're time travelers, those weird
the
little
radioactivity coming off of us.
Yes.
I'm believing anything at this point, so I believe that. So this is a band made up of two couples, right? How did that... First of all, this looks sort of like a fusion of the B-52s, Devo, and the Carter family.
Yes. I need that quote, too, on my website. You said one earlier, and we need both of them, all right?
How did this come about?
Julie, how did it come about?
Well, I guess it kind of started with Andrew and me. We met in Germany 6 years ago, started playing music together, then decided we were there to teach English, but we decided we liked to play music better than teaching. So we started a band and started touring all over the U.S. And then like a year ago, we decided we were going to record a Bluegrass and Outer Space album, and we needed a full band for that, obviously. So we recruited the Breakfast Sides, who we've met playing around Kansas City. And
we shacked up with them down in Springfield, Missouri, and Chad recorded and engineered the whole project. And,
that's awesome.
There's no cuts if you listen to the record. It's one. If you hear it, it was played. There's nothing snipped or cut other than some obnoxious dobro noises that I tried to kill.
Kind of like the first side of 2112 or something. The whole thing's a song. So, darn it, I had some cut. Oh shoot, it was good too. All right, keep going. So back into we just time warped.
We're used to that.
So just the four of you couldn't find a drummer that was crazy or weird enough, which is a really strange thing to say because usually they are.
Well, see, the thing is with drummers, you know.
The drum set doesn't fit in the van.
Doesn't fit in the van, okay? And and especially if you're like time traveling too, the tension gets all messed up, and they're just there freaking tuning their drums non-freaking stop.
People today think banjos are hard to tune.
Oh, forget about it. I mean, drums in a time warp. Oh my Lord! It's awful.
Really, there just wasn't room in the van for a drummer, so we kicked him out.
Yeah, we had one. His name was Willie. Willie Drum. That was his name. Willie Drum.
Oh, I thought it was Thad, and then he peed on your bag, so we fired him.
No,
Andrew,
that was
change the
actually
story.
That was the second drummer.
Okay. Oh,
We have tried to have a drummer. It just hasn't worked.
Well, that's why you're the historian, not me.
Well, I got to say, this is fun. You've got your Astro suits on, you got this thing going on, but there's some pretty serious bluegrass chops going on. There's some serious players in this band. Which came first for this? I mean, do you kind of play sort of bluegrass and then this concept happened, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think all of us have a background in playing bluegrass and old time stuff, and and then we did this record, and actually I tried to be way too heady with it. I wanted to do like a full like comic book, and I wanted to do like.
Is that heady?
No, that's right. Okay, no. But I mean, I had this grand scheme. Like I wrote all of these really outer space songs. Like wrote this one called "The Dinosaurs Didn't Go Extinct; They Went to Outer Space." And it was just getting stupid. I mean, and believe me, I like stupid, but it was just way too dumb. And so then
That is a statement.
and so then, then basically I just kind of was like, all right. I wrote a ton of songs and was like, let's actually just pick the good songs. And so then we just tried to pick the good songs and then actually built the concept and weaved it around the songs, which is, I don't know, which is always what I hope comes through in the stuff that I do. Like, even if it's goofy or weird or whatever, I hope that the songs come through. That's what I always hope for. It doesn't always happen.
I think you brought, wasn't it 18 songs to Springfield? And we learned them, Chad and I learned them in 2 days, and we started recording on day 3.
Wow. It was actually 20 songs. And we recorded like 16, I think.
It was a lot.
15, wasn't it?
It was a lot.
Anyway.
That time warp thing kind of helps with that.
It does. Yeah.
So, Andrew, you're the chief songwriter, shall we say? You can write most of the stuff?
Yeah. Julie helps me out every once in a while when I get in a rough spot. But sometimes, like, for example, the Pigeon and a Dove song, I wrote that song, and I went over to Julie and was like, Julie, I've got this song. Listen to it. It's so good. And, like, I play this whole Pigeon and a Dove song, and she's like, Yeah, that's exactly what she said. And then I forced us to play it on stage once, and everybody loved it, and so then we've kept it. So anyway, sometimes it works like that where
it's a good song.
I take it to Julie and she's like, "That's stupid," and she's probably right, but like you just gotta roll with it.
The night and the world was all
You are listening to the White Wall Sessions Radio.